All right, this is a lesson from the English Paces, and there's actually several English Paces. This first one I'm holding is pace 1086, but pace 10, I believe it's 1099, and several of the others also talk about this topic. And I know from working with my students that this is another one of those English topics where I typically need to sit down and explain a little bit what the difference is between transitive and intransitive verbs. So let's start by looking at this little flow chart, and it actually is in pace 1086, and we copied this diagram and put it in the English handbook, which you can download from pacesuccess.net and have your own copy of that, and then you can look back as you go through the paces through the different levels. But let's look at this flow chart here. If a verb is a linking verb, now remember what linking verbs are: is, am, are, was, were, been, being, all of those. If it's a linking verb, poof, automatically guaranteed it is always, always, always going to be intransitive. Now there are not too many things in English that are always, 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 okay? Math is that way, and that's why I love math. English, it seems like there's always exceptions to the rule, but this is a nice rule that always works. If you can identify the verb as being a linking verb, you know it is intransitive. Okay, so now let's talk about the action verbs. So the action verbs means that there's something happening. The student threw the ball, the principal gave a demerit, whatever. If the action verb, though, does not have a direct object, then it's intransitive. Okay? If the action verb has a direct object, then we say it is transitive. So the prefix trans actually means to carry across, okay, to transport something. So that's why I have a picture here of a truck or a bus or something with the word transitive. It's transporting the action from the noun, from the subject, across the verb, and it lands on a direct object, okay? So there has to be a direct object. So there really is only one type of verb that can be transitive, and that is the action verb with the direct object. So let me give you a couple hints for identifying whether it's transitive or intransitive. When you have a sentence, first thing you always want to do, and you've known this since a couple even levels back in English, is you're always going to look for the prepositional phrases and mark them off. Okay? So you put parentheses around those. Then look to see if it's action verb or linking verb, because if you get right here to linking verb, it's intransitive. You're done. Okay? Then the last step is, if it is action verb, look to see if there's a direct object. If there's not a direct object, then it is an intransitive verb with a direct object, transitive. All right, let's look at a couple of sentences here and see if we can figure out whether we have a transitive or intransitive verb. Brother Alltruth is our pastor. All right, no prepositional phrases. So let's underline the word is. There it is, linking verb. So we know right away that this is intransitive, okay? Pastor preached. Now, preached is not a linking verb. There are no prepositional phrases, and the sentence just ends with the verb. There's no direct object. And so that would be another case where this is intransitive. Okay, pastor preached a message. Let's see, do we have any prepositional phrases? No. Action verb? Yes. Do we have a direct object? Here we do. Since we have a direct object, then we know this has to be transitive. All right? Pastor preached in his suit. All right, you got a new suit for Easter, and he's preaching in his new suit. But look at this, preached in his suit, prepositional phrase. All right? We do have the action verb, but there is no direct object. All right? Now, if you just looked at that without marking that first, you might be tempted to think suit was a noun at the end of the sentence, and therefore maybe you'd think it was a transitive, but it's not, all right? Because actually it ends here, and this is just a prepositional phrase. So this is another intransitive. Oh, here's a nice long sentence. I'm sure this is probably going to be transitive, right? Let's see. Pastor preached on Sunday on the new platform. We've got a couple of nouns here at the end of the sentence, so we might be tempted to think that this is a transitive verb, but let's look at it. on the new platform is a prepositional phrase. On Sunday, prepositional phrase. So again, the action ended with the word preached. So this is another intransitive, all right? Let's look at the last one here. Pastor taught the class. Taught is not a linking verb, it's an action verb, no prepositional phrases. We have another direct object here. He taught the class. And so that would be the transitive. So in these examples, we have the most examples are intransitive, and that's because I think that's the one students get stuck on the most. So again, this will help you if you memorize and use this flow chart, and then think about these 3 steps. First, mark off the prepositional phrases. Secondly, determine what type of verb you have. And then if it is action verb, determine if you have a direct object. And that will help you know whether it's intransitive or transitive. The next video that I'm going to do today has to do with active and passive voice, and that actually is also in these same paces and in the next few pages here. So we'll stop the video, I'll change the board, and we'll talk about the active and passive verbs.